Ladies and gentlemen, I'm very excited to introduce our guest today, Alessandro. I'm so grateful for your time. And yeah,
Thank you so much, Elim, for having me here. After like some amazing guests you had recently, I hope I'm up to the task. But
yeah.
really, thank you so much.
Yeah, well, we'll talk about like what you do. So you're CDO at Clika, and was one of the reason like because I went to one of your conferences when you had with the Garrison, and yeah. Oh, what would you say Clika is? And would love to learn more about Clika.
So at Clika, we developed a solution to fully automate the compression of AI model. So right now, the AI compression is really hard, is really time consuming, and often it leads to nowhere. And what we did was streamline it completely. Like very, very easily with few lines of code, you just input the model, set a few parameters, and the engine that we built from scratch, that is not based on any open source, anything, it just compress it for you. Like in a few minutes, it can be like in 7 minutes, it compress it like at least 75% and as accurate as the original.
So what is AI compression? I'm not exactly.
It's do you know like the typical visualization of a neural network, where you have like layers and connections. So compression is the compression of the neural networks, the neural network.
So less neural networks?
Like you take out all the kind of useless information that are there that you give to too much, let's say, to a neural network to make it better, but sometimes some of them are too much and are not used. So the engine finds exactly that and knows what like to cut out the fat, basically.
And how much would you say you like increase like from the original? How much do you compress it? Like 90% of it?
It can like the minimum is 75% because it's mainly quantization and that's the baseline, but it can be up to 95%.
And you do with like large language models or specifically trained machine learning models that the company has?
It's mostly for computer vision, but we are actually in hopefully 1 week or 2 weeks, we will have the first benchmarks on a large language model. Because like transformer architecture is a little bit different than CNNs. On CNNs worked really, really well out of the box.
Yeah, what is CNN again?
It should be like
CNN
convoluted neural network, if I'm
okay.
not mistaken, but it's it's the most basic type, let's say, of
neural networks.
Neural networks.
And neural networks is AI. Just for the audience at home, I just want to.
They are like AI models, basically. Okay. It's the structure of like having again a bunch of layers
and what are transformers?
And input. Transformers is a different type of architecture that is the base of large language models. Not an engineer, so I don't want to sound too stupid. So let's stop at this.
Yeah, sure, sounds good. Yeah, so your role is CDO, a very interesting role in a AI company. What would you say you do on a daily basis?
Yeah, it's kind of weird, especially people don't expect it in a startup at all, and especially in an AI startup. But so my role is both like CDO and CCO, and in both cases sounds a little bit ridiculous in AI startup. Is I'm the designer and the creative officer. So I'm in charge of any type of anything, how anything front facing looks.
So like UI UX.
UI UX is most of it, but also like content, like for marketing, or can be like the most fun thing was creating the mascot for the company for marketing purposes. And usually it sounds stupid, but everybody usually is very surprised and has a it had a very strong fan base, let's say, among our potential clients, especially in the US. So it's always nice when we bring like they see it It's kind of a cute tiger.
Yeah. So you're kind of like a CMO as well.
Yeah. But so I'm basically in charge of all of that. In going deep down, I will say, let's say in the more abstract sense, is just like representing what we do so that people can understand. Since we are very deep tech and it's so obscure still, the field of AI, like what exactly happens, it's basically inscrutable to most people, me included. My main job is finding a way to visualize and make people understand easily a complex mechanism like what
so
we
your
do.
clients aren't like AI engineers. I mean, they are, but
They are, but
also the majority of it are not.
AI engineers don't sign the contracts, or like they are the end users, but the people who you have meetings with, the people who you talk about the license are not engineers. They usually are either like high level managers, and you need to make them understand what exactly you are doing. With engineers, it's very easy. You let engineers talk with other engineers and they understand each other, but that's usually the last person you talk to, just when they want to see if we are sound.
What would you say are like AI companies that really incorporate design helpfully into their architecture and how they portray themselves at the current moment? Do you have any?
Not really. Like they are mostly, at least the ones I know, kind of basic, not like kind of a standardized UI and UX, doing nothing.
And you don't really like that.
Nothing special. Like playing it really safe. It's probably like the best one for some part is Google, just because like usually their animation principles and what they do for the marketing is usually always impressive. And if you see like the presentation video of like Gemini, it's super pretty. So like it makes it look fun to use, and you get interested. It looks way more polished than most. Or like some other companies just don't care at all, like Meta, for example. Like you don't really have mostly a UI where you can type. You usually go on I don't know, on Hugging Face or whatever, and use the model through something else. But other than that, I don't use much AI, to be honest, and Clika is not exactly comparable to them, because we are not B2C. Like a normal person can use it, but it will make no sense. Like to me, I'm not an engineer. I can use it because it's really simple, but it will make no sense for me to do it. Our target customers are, and our engineers are gonna be the end users. So our main product, that is the compression engine, is like a terminal, like it's pure code. So it doesn't require for now any UI UX. But we are developing a platform that is gonna be like that next month. We will launch with other two products that complement the compression engine, and those one of them it's a visual editor for a type of file that is called the Onyx, and the visualizer for another one that is called TF Lite, that are like end products of an AI model.
So you guys are really trying to build an ecosystem of compression and optimization of AI models.
Exactly, and helping you like forgetting all that part, the annoying part. Have fun training the model and preparing your PyTorch model. Let us handle this, and you will get something that you are ready to deploy somewhere.
To the extent you can talk about, what are like the people who are using your product at the moment, or in the future audience that you see really utilizing what you guys offer?
So I cannot tell too much, but we have one current customer here in Korea, and we are doing a few POCs all across the world. Some of them are in Europe, some of them are in the US. They are big enterprises, and a few like smaller companies that cater to these enterprises, to those size of enterprises. Since we our target customer are mostly, let's say up until now actually, companies that are already using a lot of AI products, a lot of AI models, and they are either not happy with the performance, or they are not happy because they are spending too much money, and either they want to, like, I don't know, a car company want a better computer vision system that can run in real time on the car with a higher accuracy than what they do now. That's a perfect customers in our case. Or you have a company that cannot keep spending and or cannot buy because they are not available, like super expensive GPUs, or cannot wait to find them one available on Google Cloud or AWS. We would empower them to save money by choosing like cheaper hardware and being able to run that same exact model maybe on a CPU machine that costs like 80% less with the same kind of performance. So they are kind of like two-folded, either or both. Like they want either better performance or cost saving, or both. But we want to also, when we launch the platform, there will be also a kind of like startup plan, because we want to, like, there are a lot of startups that now are starting to leverage AI, and especially with large language models, like the power requirement is too high. So having the chance to reduce that kind of cost, or like, let's say, entry cost of having really, really expensive GPUs, we want to like cater to them too.
And I saw before you became a CDO, you worked as a designer for other companies. What was this transition like from a designer to CDO, and like what's the difference?
Well, right now it's mostly that I'm the only designer in the company, so
Yeah.
I'm not in a team. But it's not much different. Before joining Clika, I was working in Italy for Luxottica. Don't know if you know, is like biggest glasses and sunglasses company in the world. And I was hired to help build an internal 3D team for like marketing advertisement campaigns. They wanted to produce more in-house, and they didn't have anybody. So I was hired to build a team and a pipeline to produce them like in-house and in a consistent way.
And how does that differ in like a startup climate?
It's very different because like the office are much smaller, but it's still like in that experience too. Like it was a kind of a new team, and starting from scratch. So it was kind of a startup inside of a bigger company. So I don't see much difference in that regard. Like it was not a heavy structure that would like require 20 steps of approval. They were kind of very good at moving fast. So they had kind of a startup mentality, especially in the marketing and advertisement part. So actually, I wouldn't say it's
big change.
It's much different.
And I mean, you work on AI company and you're a designer yourself. How do you think design and AI themselves will intersect? How designers will change? Because a lot of people, a lot of designers, I know they are a bit worried. How do you think AI will change things?
That's a good question. I'm worried too, to be honest. I don't think the quality of generative AI is nearly good enough for anything except having fun. So it's not to worry now, but it will get there. It will get better and better. My point is, I can see, like, who makes the decision. That what worries me more than Gen AI are gonna be like managers that don't have an eye, cannot understand any difference, don't have a sense of taste at all, will choose the cheaper one or the better one. That is like that is the my worry, because Gen AI will never get to the point of replacing artists or replacing designers, because it's incapable by itself to make decision. It just regurgitates something. You will always get something average, never over average, and never that has a real thought behind. Because prompting for how it works, it's kind of like repeating always the same kind of like I don't know, on ArtStation, Octane render, photoreal. That's not how things work, how thoughts work. So they are. It can be a good starting point. It can be used by designers or artists as like iterating on ideas, or like ChatGPT too is very good for like a writer's block. When you look at an empty page, there is always that's the hardest part, is starting. So that one can be easy to just generating a bunch of garbage until you find something that that doesn't look that bad, and you can see, oh, maybe I can go in this direction.
So you see kind of designers using AI as a part of their workflow,
Yeah,
but it's not going to fully replace.
I
But do you think designers who use AI will replace designers who don't use AI?
I don't think so. They will maybe designers are usually pretty fast, so I don't think it's a question of like turnover, like how much you can churn, how much design you can do. But I suppose that at a certain point, unless everything come crashing down, every designer will implement some sort of AI in their workflow. Mostly because there isn't only generative AI for designs or for art. There are much better, let's say, much more useful AI models, like, I don't know, super resolution, for example. Like you put a low resolution image and you get something blown out 4 times while still being pretty good. Same thing with video. Those tools are very good, or like, again, like in like a replacing the background of a clip instead of masking and rotoscoping somebody dancing. Yeah, sure. That is the AI that we as designers need. Something that empowers us, not something that tries to replace us. Because that's the point. Like Gen AI, I don't think it's the answer for designers, and will be much helpful, because it's not really useful to go in parallel the work, because most of the time, like if I try to use it, I realize, oh, to fix this and make it something usable, I need so much work that if I start from scratch, it's faster and better. So I don't think it will reach. I'm probably wrong, but
Yeah,
but
maybe,
that's
yeah.
how I feel. Like since it will never create anything unique. It's not able to have a purpose. It cannot really replace. You will have
So
a lot of
sentimental value.
company.
There's no sentimental value behind
There is
it.
no thoughts behind. There is no purpose in when you design something. You should put thoughts into it. Why you will make the button look like that? Yeah, maybe the answer is because it looks cool. But usually you will need to try to make a better experience for a user. And the robot cannot understand that. It can just try to give you the average answer between all on which it was trained on. Nothing different. Nothing. It will be just more of the same, of the same, of the same, of the same. It gets really, really boring. It's good, and it's probably gonna be used for if you don't have any budget or you cannot hire designers. But at a certain point, it will show.
I mean, I'd love to just go back a little bit because you said you create design and you to illustrate deep tech. How do you go about understanding deep tech and try to illustrate it for normal people? What's the process like? Because you said your background's not an engineer.
I listen first to what the engineers in the company tell me. Ask as many questions as possible. Mostly because engineers like to talk too much and go too deep and like rabbit hole as fast as possible. So the point is kind of an interview, like trying to bring to the surface all the major concepts. What is that that I need to get to understand what you're saying. And then trying to be, like kind of creative and try to understand with how, like, is the concept you are explaining. If I give you this example that doesn't at all matter with what you're saying, is it equivalent? Can I say that is basically the same or not? I have a good example. So I told you before that our engine does something that is called quantization, and it took me a while to understand what quantization was.
How long would you say?
I don't know, a day.
Yeah.
But the point is, like, quantization is basically bringing a value that is a floating point value. So let's say 13.1250 and so many numbers, and saying, oh, actually, if it's just 13, it's close enough. It will not matter that much. But to the computer, calculating two numbers, that is 1 and 3, compared to calculating like 20 numbers, it's a lot better. So the example that I found that worked was with compression of images. Like when you have a JPEG or a PNG, you have any image is in a spectrum of bits. You can have like 32-bit image, or you can have 1-bit image. And basically the bits is the color space, let's say, that is used. Then how many different colors are used in the image? That if you zoom in, usually like when you have a 32-bit image, you have, I don't know, millions of different colors. So the shade are so, in a shade of like a gradient of red, there are so many different reds that can be in those millions of colors that you don't notice. It blends perfectly. But if you compress that image to 16-bit or even more, 8 or 4 or 2, you decrease the color as much as possible. And you get to 8-bit, and you start to realize, oh, they cannot use all that shades of red because there are so many colors in the image. So you start to feel and see an effect that is called bending. That is basically you see stripes of color. You see when there is a step, like the colors don't blend anymore. Then you go even more down and down up to like 2 colors, and it's basically in black and white. And if you zoom enough, it gets to like there is a white pixel and a black pixel. But if you zoom to the entire image, maybe it looks gray because your eye like make up for that because it's so zoomed out. So it looks like it's not just white and black. So quantization is kind of the same. Is how do you represent the same image when you have different, like a limited set of colors. If you look it far away enough, a 32-bit image and an 8-bit image is the same. So it's the same thing for computer vision. It sometimes is good enough. It will make no difference that like those decimal points to recognizing a person or not. So being a designer, that helps because it makes it something. I managed to understand the concept of quantization, and now it's a little bit harder to explain just with words. But if I show you pictures, you will understand very, very clearly what I mean and how, like, to the naked eye and to the computer, in the case of computer vision, you really cannot see the difference. But one file is, I don't know, 50 times smaller than the other.
I love that way of thinking. Also, I learned more about compression. Thank you. Yeah. I just wanted to ask. There was this moment. This is kind of when you guys kind of got viral. Your CEO, I think she asked for the business card of Elon Musk, and it was on some press and some. How did that feel like? And because you're a person managing the brand as well, how did that affect, and how was it like?
It was awesome. It was so much fun. We were in Paris for Vivatech. We were exhibiting there, and Elon Musk was giving. It was at a fireside chat. With a bunch of other famous people, somebody from LVMH, for example, and I woke up super early that morning and got a ticket for that talk, and I woke up, let's see, on Ayul and said, I found this. Now it's your turn. You need to find a way to talk with Elon Musk, to interact.
Also, it was your plan from the
with him.
start.
Yes.
So you only had one ticket?
Yes.
Oh, so you only managed to get one ticket on time.
Yeah.
So
I woke up at 6 a.m. and scoured through a Korean chat, and I don't speak Korean, and I managed to be the first to snatch the ticket. But so she had the guts, and it took, I think, a lot of courage. So she stood up in the question time and introduced herself, introduced the company, and asked, "Can I give you my business card?" And they said yes. And so she went there and gave it, and everybody was. The funny parts were I was not there. I was in another place completely, and but I was watching the live feed on YouTube. And once she went there, it started to everybody in the group, we were Korean companies that we were brought back there by Samsung. And by that time, we knew each other. Said, guys, look what Nayol is doing. And then the next day, so many people were coming to our booth saying, "You're the business card girl, right? I saw you yesterday. I saw your shirt that had Clika written behind. So I wanted to check what you guys doing." It was really, really so much fun. She was great.
Yeah, I mean, when I saw the LinkedIn post, it was like I kind of learned a lesson. It was like, because I physically met you guys, and it's like these people. Elon Musk just seems so unapproachable. He seems so distant. He seems like some distant being, and the fact the CEO got in your company got the guts to do that, and the fact it was taken gladly by Elon,
Yeah.
that kind of shows like, oh, these people that you're kind of scared, you have this like weird like, oh, what if people judge me, what if this, but if you just go out and put yourself out there, and especially at that scale, you kind of also go viral as well, because that it just requires so much determination and courage to just do something
True.
that no one really probably has ever done. Just ask a business card out of nowhere.
True. There were a lot of people like on Twitter that I don't understand that were shocked and saying, "How can security do that? What if she had a gun?" Like something that to me is just ridiculous.
Yeah, the security in
That
those
people
events.
think that people like Elon Musk, like they are guarded 24/7 and everybody wants to hurt them. No, they can have a normal life.
Yeah.
Not worrying about somebody attacking them. It's to me was more weird that a lot of people thought were weirded out by that than. But everybody, like it was so funny, and then it became a kind of a challenge. So like the time after that, she did the same thing with Jensen, and from the president
Really?
of Nvidia.
Did she
at GTC. Yeah.
She got as well.
Yeah. She went there and gave him the business card.
Wow.
Yeah, but there are no videos on that. And from that, the CTO got not jealous, but started to feel challenged. So like a few weeks ago, I was in Las Vegas with the CEO and the CTO for Google Next. We are part of Google for Startup Accelerator, so they invited us to the next event, and the CTO went to there was the CEO of Anthropic, Dario Amodeo.
Yeah, I love Entropic. I'm paying for their cloud right now at the moment.
And at the end, like everybody was there, like, oh, can we do a selfie? Can you do a selfie? But it was huge, and so the CTO shouted, Dario, do you want to save a lot of money on your GPU power? And he could not even see him, and he said, yes. And so he like just pushed through and gave the business card. And he took it and said, okay, we talk. So hopefully we will talk. But he is great. Like he's a really, really smart guy.
Yeah, wow.
So it became a kind of challenge. Now they are
a strategy.
2-1.
Yeah.
And I want to see what
Are you going to join
the
as well?
CTO want to. I don't know. I'm not that I'm shy, but I'm the I'm not the CEO. I'm not the CTO. So I'm kind of in a middle position of being probably the worst one to contact them.
Yeah. I see. Interesting.
And also I have very strong opinions, so I don't like a lot of people that I prefer not to give my business card.
Yeah, just putting your outs there. Wow. So it's been a strategy you guys have been implementing. I'll implement it myself.
It became something really funny that I think it's always a good story, and a good story is something, it's so important.
And that's an integral part of design, right?
It's absolutely an integral part of design. It's an integral part of marketing, and it's such an important factor of like giving a character to the company, not just being like a cold, like completely like empty shell.
Yeah.
And you just like, we want to have I like that we have a personality.
Exactly.
So like reaching out and being bold, I think that's what a startup should do. Of course, always being nice and being respectful, not being brash or doing something stupid. I think that way, like, we are charming. We are kind of endearing. We are the small guys that are willing to put ourselves out, up. Like, no, how do you say? I don't remember.
You mentioned like, oh, like you don't want to be empty shell, and like that's like kind of the brand. You guys are building a brand, and I find it interesting because I like to read about Apple a lot, and Apple's unique moat was their brand. Like they were not like technologically better in terms. They just had a better appeal, a better UI, a better branding of just all Apple is, and yeah, I just find that to be very interesting. And with this new technologies rise and AI and stuff.
That's true, and Apple is a good example because they always understood, and it paid off big time, that technology is not everything.
What are
like you need to have a message. You need to have to create an experience since the start. Like Microsoft was the professional, boring one. So like at a certain point, it's good to like separate yourself, or like I will say care more than more than holding up and let the technology speak for itself. I will say you should do both. You should build a team that builds the technology that disrupt everything, and also have another team that thinks of who do we want to be? How do we want to be perceived by the outside? Do we want to look cool? Do we want to look smart? Do we want to look whatever?
Yeah.
Like that's my point. In everything, you should always have a purpose. You should always think a reason to do something. That's what like Gen AI cannot do.
And then as a designer, how do you go about, because do you follow just your intuition, or do you like follow like theories, or how do you go about the process of being a designer and trying to find a specific way you want to be perceived and trying to make something for that purpose?
So let's start with the fact that I'm self-taught.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, I didn't study design in college or anything.
I
studied Japanese languages and culture.
Really? Wow.
Not only actually Asian languages. I studied also like Tibetan and Sanskrit. But I research a lot. I really think the biggest work that any artist or designer should do is research. Research and understanding. Like study what's happening, what other people are doing, what other people did, what worked, what failed, and why. Why? Like again, like designers, especially at high level, always there is a why. Sometimes, usually it's not apparent. So a job of a designer is figuring out why they made this decision and why it makes it special. Why I watch a video or a presentation and it resonates with me. Why? They did something really, really well. What worked? And same thing if I see something underwhelming. Same. But that's a big part of my job. I really like it, so I do it like also in my free time. I always watch videos. I always watch, like I go on cool websites. I follow who I think are like some of the best designers in the world. I play games and look, how do they handle like the UI, or in general like the UX, why this game feels so much more fun to play rather than this. And you can always translate it into your work. You can use the design that like a coffee brand chose, that a nice restaurant decided for their style. You can always find out why it works with you and how it can be helpful for your work. And in my case, I really like. Sometimes people don't like that about me. Maybe I don't really like to do safe. I think it's kind of boring, and I like to be excited at what I'm doing. So I try as hard as possible to always like trying to do something different, something that I'm not. I don't consider myself an artist. Don't consider myself a good designer. I'm just a normal, but I want to people to use or when they see what I do, like an animation I do or a UI, a UX I do, to enjoy. First of all, enjoy. If it's a UI UX, that they want to use it more. They want to like it's what's behind is really useful, but I want to conquer their heart and say, damn, this was also, it's so fun and it's so clear. It's so like understanding like the love. I want to put love in my work. I don't want to just put out content for the sake of because I have a deadline and I need this image for the website or for the newsletter. I don't like that. I want to make always something that maybe 0.1% of the people notice, but they say, oh, that was smart. That's cool. Like maybe it's like a small animation or a small thing that
it's something only other artists can like kind of appreciate.
No, because that's the point. Like I want to elicit you some feeling that maybe you don't expect, or it's a feeling of joy when you click a button. Like it's like there are a lot of companies, a lot of applications, for example, that do that thing, that they make it so much fun with like just like a sparkle, having something that makes it worthwhile using that app or using that website. That's what I always want to do in any type of design.
I feel at heart of that. Like I really love like design. Like I'm probably gonna start you mentioned cafe, like coffee, like cafe shop, and I've been kind of inspired recently by design-led companies like Airbnb, and it's like it's so seamless, it's so nice, and it kind of makes me really want to. And I'm an Apple user. This is recorded on Apple. It's just I've liked the seamless design of it, and it's really keep everyone I know kind of hooked on it, whatever it may be. And that's kind of like a reminder of how important design is. And I had Leonardo da Vinci had a quote, and it was just interesting because you are in the science and you're also in the art. He says, if you study the science, study the art of science and study the science of art. So
yeah, that's great. That's really great, and I see a lot of there are a lot of similarities, like in how usually how you are influenced by, like, artists are influenced by science and vice versa. Usually scientists are like people that are always interested in something new. Maybe they don't consume that much art, but if there is, they understand if there is something special. And same thing, artists like I think usually they are very curious people and fascinated by whatever it's happening. Like, you are not an artist if you close yourself off from everything. It gets really hard. You need to be a genius probably to be able to do something meaningful by closing yourself off. But what I think it's one thing that is really in both artists and scientists, and I think it's something irreplaceable by computers, is the fact that the process is everything, not the end product. You have an end goal. You want to make some art. You want to do the discovery. But how you get there is the fun part. Like proving a theory or creating a beautiful painting. It's not that you want to do it as fast as possible. You want to understand. You probably develops like a theory, like even a like math theory or a physics or chemistry, whatever. Like it develops the more you go on, and maybe your concept of and your science theory, it gets you understand. Oh, I think I was wrong, but by doing the research I'm doing, I figure out where I should go. And that's the point. The whole process between starting and end is the most beautiful thing in the world, in my opinion, both in art and science. Scientists are very passionate and they want to understand more. And artists are the same. They want to express themselves, bring out what they have inside. And that process is liberating, it's invigorating, it's life, it's giving birth to something. That's why, again, a computer cannot do that.
Yeah.
It cannot give birth to an idea, to a theory, to a beautiful thing. It can, but it's kind of empty.
Talking about like giving birth and like ideas and like the process. I mean, I'm trying to grow into a good person. I'm pretty young. This is the last question I ask all my guests, and it's if you can travel back in time to when you're 17, what would you tell yourself? Because I want to turn into something beautiful. I don't know what, like something good, you know.
I don't know. When I was a teenager, maybe I was a little bit, a little shit. I don't know if I can say it, but I would say be kinder, be nicer. I think that's the most important thing. Like you're saying, like being a better person. I think it's something everybody should strive for because it's a never-ending quest. Become better, but to me, it's the most important part of becoming better is like develop your empathy, develop your understanding of other people, listen to people, listen to every opinion, or even the opinion you disagree with, to understand why you disagree with them. But you need to understand people. What I understood when I was a teenager, when I was 17, and fascinated me, and it's the thing I always bring with myself. And living in a different country, you can understand too, like the impossibility of perfect communication. You will never be able to, like, words in every language are not enough to explain everything. So there will always be a barrier, and you should fill that gap or help to break that barrier by understanding, by understanding each other, by feeling, by being empathetic, understanding, oh, I disagree with you, but I understand you think that because of your background, because your world experience that is probably different than mine. So I should try to understand you. It doesn't matter. Like if you meet somebody that has a very stupid idea, you shouldn't crush him just because you think it's stupid. Try to understand him. If you say to a person and you are aggressive, oh, you think the earth is flat, you are stupid. They will never change their idea because you are aggressive. That's not how people usually react when you insult them. You should understand them and understand, why do you think this? I'm 100% sure you are wrong, but I want to understand why you think that. And maybe then you can build a bridge and help them to understand your point of view and why. Like in some cases, you are right and they are wrong, or vice versa. So I will tell my 17-year-old me, be more empathetic, be nicer to people, and like deflate your ego more.
That's a great way of ending the podcast. I'm so thankful for your time, Alessandro.
Thank you so much, and I'm really for having me.
Thank you.